So there's some interesting things in here that she had to say that I wanted to comment on. Let's go.
Watch this video from beginning to end.
Hey guys, Karen Rose, and I'm gonna get it on in with y'all. I'm gonna respond back to my last video, but before I get in that, I'm going to talk about the Fresh and Fit situation. So that's a podcast. It's broadcast by two guys, one's black, one's Arab. So I do watch this show a little bit. I like this show to a certain extent. I like the fact that old dude be giving men game about women. You know, I have no issue with another man giving a man game because, like I said, a lot of women nowadays they crazy on it. They going out of control with the punana today. So they were talking about how they don't date black women. Now, I don't care if you don't date black women, but it was the shit that they were saying that was very disrespectful. What I'm talking about, you know,
I don't think anything Myron. I'm not going to even say their names because I'm not really sure. But Myron, I don't think Myron said anything wrong there. Particularly, he was just rude. But was he actually... Why are you looking to anyone who doesn't have your image to want you? You know, this is a common thing with you guys. And, you know, I honestly think you have to pay attention to someone's actions more than their words. And this is a person who has only been with men, from her own words. Her boyfriends have only been light-skinned, Eurocentric black men. Probably similar phenotype to Myron, so it's probably why she's going to be a little bit more bitter about Myron than the other guy. Anyway, continue.
to the Arab guy, he was very outspoken about it. He was like, we don't get down with the Browns. We don't date a bunch of shit equal us. We don't, what did he say? We don't get down with the night ride or some shit like that.
No, he said we're not night riders, which implied that when he had sex, he is the hoe, not the pole, which is kind of exposing him. But, well, that was exposed later on anyway, so. And then there were other things that he said that were kind of exposing, like, for example, not wanting to eat girls out, had issues with that. Yeah, there's some things that he says, but that's a side issue. As far as him not being attracted to black women, dark-skinned black women per se, because he did say he was attracted to red bones. He was just not attracted to black women like you, which, why should he be? And this is the thing I wanted to also point out. You're literally calling this guy Arab, which is kind of weird to me. He's Sudanese descent. You guys go in and out with these type of people, calling people in this area, this region, Arab or not Arab, depending on how you feel at the time, what narrative you're going to make up. It's annoying. And as a person who has a similar phenotype to this guy, it's really problematic too, because it's like, I've seen it happen so many times where these people go in and out, in and out, in and out of saying the person's black, then they're Arab. Then they're black, then they're Arab. If we look at a DNA test, we can see Sudanese people usually have more African than more sub-Saharan African than North African heritage. They are of their non-sub-Saharan African ancestry, mostly North African ancestry. I know they say they're Arab, but that's kind of just something they say. And you can see this. I'll link a video down below talking about this. There's a lady, she shows her DNA results. She's Sudanese descent. She's like 65% sub-Saharan African ancestry. Anyway, let's continue.
And I'll say this. I'm going to get on the black dude later. But I'm going to get on I think his name is Myron or some shit, the Arab dude. First of all, I think that's very stupid coming from his mouth. Because what a lot of Arab people don't tell you, and Indians, they don't tell you that a lot of them are mixed with Africans. Because they're invaders. They invaded Africa.
This is ignorant and stupid. See, people like this are so ignorant, they think when they see darker skin, that means a black person. Even though Arabs, Indians, Native Americans have no such features similar to a black person like you. You're so delusional and you want so badly to hold on to people who don't claim you, who aren't you, who look nothing like you. Because I think it's honestly because you're insecure about your own phenotype. You don't like your soft, fat, round nose. You don't like your flat nose. You don't like your full lips. You don't like your high cheekbones. You don't like the fact that your eyes look like they're on the sides of your head. You don't like those features on you, and you want to claim people who don't have your features to be basically the same race as you. This is annoying with black people like you. You guys say you're pro-black, but you're not proud of your own features. It's a shame. Anyway, continue.
Because a lot of them come from the Caucasus Mountains, which are caves, and they also come from Turkish. So they started to invade Africa and forcing themselves on the women.
Yeah, usually how that worked as far as coming to Africa and so forth for the Middle Eastern people and North African populations. Most of the time, those people are the people we're speaking of, like, for example, the Tubu, the Saharan people, the Sudanese people, the East African people, the Swahili people, and so forth. Many of those people are mixed with those people, but those people stayed in Africa. They didn't actually go to the other countries. See, the African people who went to the Middle East and South Asia got absorbed by those populations heavily, enough where if they have African ancestry, it's only like 1 or 2%. It's never a very high percentage. People try to blow up the percentage and act like it's so much more than it actually is. Maybe you'll find a very southern Gulf Yemeni who is maybe possibly a higher percentage than 1 or 2% African ancestry, but most Middle Easterners are not going to have much sub-Saharan African ancestry. You're going to have to basically go with the North African heritage and try and make that black, but that's not going to work because through the U.S. Census, North Africans are not black, they're Caucasian. And it's not just that situation because the Caucasian race literally encompasses easily North Africa, Middle East, and Europe. And it also includes more than that, like South Asia, East Africa, and southern parts of the Sahara. Technically, the Sahara itself is included with North Africa, so technically that is included with the U.S. Census. I don't personally think that because they're mixed, but that's a whole nother story. Point is, North Africans are Caucasians. Middle Eastern people are Caucasian. They are tested that way. DNA tests show they don't have sub-Saharan African ancestry on high amounts. So stop trying to claim people that don't look like you and have nothing in common with you just because you don't like anything that you see on yourself. Continue.
Children, that's why a lot of them are darker skinned and brown skinned now. And the dummy that Arab that's in that video, he's a brown skinned Arab. And how they started to invade Africa is because a lot of black people started valuing one another. There was a lot of pharaohs started putting their own people into, slavery. And the mulattoes, they wanted to be friends with the Greeks. So by the 25th dynasty of Kemet in Africa, a lot of that shit was just fell. Everything just went to shit. And a lot of the pharaohs, they would be telling, hey, if you want to do business with me, you got to buy my slaves, selling your own people like idiots.
Yeah, Egyptians weren't even black, so I mean, like, you're again claiming people that aren't you. Why is it that Western African, Sub-Saharan African people can't accept that they're just Sub-Saharan African people who are West African and, embrace the people that look like you? Why are you trying to take people who don't look a dang thing like you? They don't have your skin tone, probably. I mean, if you're really going to be so desperate to try and say that they do have your skin tone, that would only be off of a tan. How dark do you look when you tan? You're very, very dark. compared to them. So I mean, like, you can't even do that. It's like such desperation. These people don't look like you, okay? They aren't ethnically like you. They aren't legally like you. You are just delusional. Continue though.
Because Arabs, they were trying to invade Africa for years, but because of the African men would always run them off because they would fight them off. Because African men, they were like bigger and stronger, so they'll just fight them off. But that was just once.
That's not true. I mean, Caucasians tend to actually be much taller and bigger than Africans. Africans tend to be shorter and more petite, and they also have smaller bone structure. I think the reason people always think that black people are bigger is because of slavery. And during slavery, black people worked harder, and so they were put through a lot, so then they were basically worked harder, and therefore they looked bigger than people who didn't work out in the sun and in the harsh conditions all day long, so they're going to seem like they're bigger, leaner, stronger. That's just to do with the environment that they're in. But particularly on an equal basis, Caucasian people tend to be actually taller and bigger and stronger than black African people. And they tend to be more masculine, but that's a whole nother story. You didn't bring that up.
Stop valuing one another. That was their easy way going on in. So, now that we talk about that, I talk about that because I find it very funny that he says that because, Airman, you have a lot of darker skinned women as well that are on the midnight train, whatever he said, the night ride.
No, he said he was okay with red bones. Most of Arab women, if you're saying, he's not Arab though. He's Sudanese descent. So I mean, like Sudanese people, most of them are lighter than you, I would say. But more than that, their features are finer than yours. Usually, when we talk about the modeling industry, Sudanese women, East African women, are usually more popular than West African women. It's just what it is. The only women, South Sudanese women obviously dominate the modeling industry, but the East African women have always been a sign of beauty, so that's just what it is. I mean, like, why should he want your image if you don't have his image? You don't even recognize him to be a black man because of his facial structure and so forth. So why should he prefer you? Shouldn't he prefer someone who looks like him? If you're really talking about this, like, in that sense of things, like, you can't really say it's a self-hate situation when he doesn't look like you. And he's lighter than you, so, yeah.
A lot of them, they act like they shit don't stink. And the crazy part is you said all of that, but some of your women are really darker skinned. They're more darker than Asian doll envy put together. And I'm gonna get on Fresh because Fresh is the black dude. He's not FBA. A black woman would chew your ass up in a quick second. And to me,
sorry about that.
To me, he's not masculine. You can tell, like, certain people, you're like, yeah, I see why you date outside your race, because a black woman would chew your ass up in a quick second.
And that's the thing. I think this is a really important part to pay attention to because, she said this in another video, how she thought that this meant that she was trying to fight against the idea that she's masculine and that she's not a very submissive woman. And she was trying to fight against that stereotype, right? Because black men have kind of like imposed that idea on her, and she feels insecure about being a black woman. This is an important part of that, I think, because look, she automatically thought a black woman is more of a masculine woman and needs a really masculine man in order to put her in her place. That's what she's basically saying. And she's basically implying that by her own behavior and thinking that since she's a masculine woman, that means that black women are masculine women, which is not the case. She just grew up in a rough end of town, and so that's why she's probably more on the rough side of things and more masculine, because that's what her environment made her, basically. And maybe she naturally is that way, but I don't think so, because she doesn't seem happy in masculinity. It seems like it's more an environmental thing. And then because she's so rough on the edge and more masculine, this is a major reason why she has insecurities about it, because she would rather be softer and perceived as softer by black men. But you can see that they don't see her that way. This is why she asks for black men to protect her in another video, but they don't see that she needs protection because she's so masculine and she protects black men, that she is more of a fighter for them and someone who is their protector. Therefore, she takes on the masculine role of protecting black men, you know. And I said this before, I personally don't even, I don't like fight for black men like that. I do think, I wish the best for them, but I don't fight for them like that. I mean, like, I think like that we need to clear crime out of certain neighborhoods and try and make sure people are safe, including black men, black women, black children, everyone who's law abiding, but I'm not one to fight hard for people like that. And I found that for me personally, I do get protection from black men, actually very often. And I think, like I said, when you are in a more masculine energy, people are going to see you in that, and they're going to treat you like that, And I think this is a good part of how she just basically showed that she knows she's in her masculine energy, and she does think it's a part of being a black woman. Anyway, continue.
And to me, even though you don't date black women, you don't ever sit up there and let nobody play on your race like that. That's how I feel about that shit. You don't ever like just sit up there and take that shit like you're like a stupid ass, because it just shows how insecure he is and that he has some self-hate issues a little bit. Because he's not that damn attractive. Ryan ain't that damn attractive. And the fact that Myron, whatever his name is, the dude from Fresh Fit, say that, it's like black women really don't seek after Arab men at all. Not that I know of.
He's not an Arab, though. He's Sudanese. I don't understand. Have you ever actually looked at an Arab? Arabs look like Mediterranean people. So I just find that really odd. You're trying to say he's an Arab. He's not an Arab. Continue, though.
Because you look at them a little different. But,
And honestly, I just want to point out that personally, to me, I actually prefer Arab men physically over white men. And, of course, black men. But to me, they tend to have more of a masculine phenotype. But I don't think that Myron looks Arab. That's odd to me. I would place Myron as East African in phenotype. To me, I don't see how he looks any different than an East African or someone in the Saharan area, region, so forth. He doesn't look sub-Saharan, I guess, but he does look like he's African, like somewhere in Africa, East Africa, Saharan parts of Africa, like Sudan, Chad, so forth.
I'm going to say this as well. Now that I'm done with that situation, I'm going to talk about my last video. Like I said, I love black men. I respect y'all. I think y'all are very handsome. I think y'all are sexy and chocolate with that melanin in y'all's skin.
This is coming from a lady who only dates men who are light-skinned. I don't think there's much validity in this, because if you never dated dark-skinned black men, how are you really saying that you actually prefer them? You're not showing it by actions, and actions speak louder than words. I'm just saying, and added to the fact that you try your hardest to look your lightest, we can see what your preference is.